Hello, world. I'm back. So I just want to say a big shout out to the Tangent Podcast. I love these guys. The camaraderie between the three of them and the respectful disagreements and the passion. I freaking love it. It's awesome. And furthermore, I think that you should have a woman's perspective on your Tangent podcast, and I think I would be a perfect candidate for that, because if you listen to my commentary, you will plainly see that I love to go off on tangents and very philosophically. And also I could learn a lot from Al with history. It's interesting in my aged wisdom that I have become so much more interested in history. I used to not give two shits about it, and now I understand that we need to understand where we came from to truly know where we are going and want to go. And Al has that wisdom. Al, you are my spirit animal. I agree with you on almost everything. It is amazing. I kind of feel like I already am part of your podcast, but I still think that y'all should have a woman's perspective. I'm just saying, throwing it out there. I'll audition. Okay, so let's get into this. I am an artist, and so I always say this should take me such and such time, and I have learned a long time ago that what I think that it's going to take me, I have to at least double it. So I am aiming for 30 minutes on this one. Let's see if I can meet my target, because last time I aimed for 30 minutes and I got an hour. But I'm going to really try to keep it tight on this, because this podcast specifically, this episode brings up like three of my main points from my last post that I would just like to expound upon with their banter and their ideas and their thoughts that incorporate within mine. So let's hit it right here.
I'll get to the meat of it. I am asking that the impoundment order be extended indefinitely because I am in fear of my personal safety and the personal safety of my family if the names of the jury are made public. I have read the impoundment order, noted the first page that individuals associated with this case have been charged criminally with intimidation. I am frightened for my personal safety as a result of learning that someone associated with this case has been criminally charged with intimidation. I also recall testimony from at least one witness who described being harassed by individuals and her family being harassed because of their involvement in this case. I do not know of any of the specifics of any such harassment, but I fear that my family and I will not only be harassed if the names of the jurors are made public, but that our personal safety will be seriously compromised. Let's start right there. What do you think of that?
You know what? It seems valid. It doesn't seem like it would be something extraordinary. It doesn't seem like, like it is a individual who is overly sensitive. I mean, you've seen this. I mean, any comment I've made that deals with this Karen Read trial has spawned 50 friggin' comments attacking me. Okay, whether I'm on her side, not on her side, around her side, that, why am I talking about history? That's another one. But the situation with regards to same is that it has spawned negativity across the board. And I have nothing to do with this trial. And none of these people even know her, but they feel very, very, very much.
Okay, so what are your thoughts now? Personal safety, right? So no one has been physically attacked here that I know of.
Yet.
Okay, that's my first point, Al. Yet. No one has been physically harmed yet. Okay, that is a huge component. Now, here is where some of my commentary is necessary, and it is, I will say, outside of the law, but within the law at the same time. I don't have legal experience, so Vinny, this would be a super interesting conversation for you and I to debate. I would love it. I think you should at least have me as a guest one day and check it out and see if we all mesh, because I think it would be awesome. So here's where I stand with this. The lawyers that are covering this and the people that are covering this on the side of the law really only are being exposed and want to watch the trial as it unfolds, and they don't know everything that is going on in the background of this case. And all of that is really important. And my personal opinion is that it all is very incredibly relevant to this case. And so I am wondering if the judge and the attorneys need to readdress this. I think Lally needs to assess and DA Morrissey needs to assess if this should come in, because, and here's, I'm going to give my argument as to why and what I'm talking about. So, Turtle Boy, you need to go check out his YouTube channel. You need to actually see what he says and what he has been doing. It is so important to understand so many things in this trial. Okay? For example, Jen McCabe has been made a villain. Jen McCabe is a strong, amazing woman that I was so proud of. I was literally cheering and jumping, and my dogs were going crazy when I was watching her testimony, because I know what that woman has been through, because I researched all of that background shit. Once I got into the case, I do my due diligence. See, and this is where I differ with lawyers, because I want the actual factual truth. And Vinny, you always say on your own podcast that you want the truth. Do you want the truth, or do you want the truth as is what is legally allowed to come into the court? And then furthermore, does that need to be reassessed in this case because of the incredible impact it has had on everyone and everything in this community, these people, their lives, their livelihood, their employment, their housing, their children, their health benefits, their income, their fear for their safety, both physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. They are at a breaking point, okay? You have to look into what Turtle Boy has been doing to understand why he has caused, or how he has caused so much vitriol, which is why many of you in the public that don't look into what has been going on in the background think that Jen McCabe is an evil person because she was defensive and making sure that she was going to stand strong in her truth. And she is villainized for that also. Here's the thing. She has been harassed. It is on the media. It is literally on Turtle Boy's website. He literally has federal charges against him for witness intimidation. Now, here's why I think it's relevant. Has he been convicted? No. But the evidence of everything that I'm going to talk about regarding Turtle Boy, Karen Read, and her attorneys, there is actual factual proof of, both in photographs, in video, and mostly on Turtle Boy's website and other people that have reposted things, and he has little minions all working for him within the media now to push this narrative. Again, this is innocence fraud. If you don't know what that is, please look it up. Please check out Roberta Glass on YouTube. You need to understand that in order to understand the things that I'm saying. Because at some point in this conversation, y'all talk about like this is like mob mentality. Yes, it is mob mentality. So Jen McCabe has been harassed, called a murderer. The Alberts, the Proctors, all of the McCabes, the O'Keefes, all of those four families have been terrorized. Like, it's literally, in my very, very strong opinion, terrorism. Karen Read, in my very, very strong opinion, has incited terrorism on the victims' families, members, and his closest friends, and the four families that I just mentioned most of all, but really the entire community. People from other countries are donating to this woman's innocence fraud campaign of terrorism that she has incited, and she is at the helm of it, and there is factual proof of that. You need to go look for it. It is on the YouTube streets. It is there for you to find. Okay? So Turtle Boy attacks them in public spaces at their children's sporting events, literally calling them, screaming at them, calling them cop killers, cop killers. There's video of him outside the court when one of the officers, starts with a B, I can't remember his name, he comes out and Turtle Boy is screaming at him about that he's part of a murder cover-up. Okay, this is not journalism, and Vinny, you know that this is not journalism. If there is in fact corruption, then the journalists that have integrity and want to dig out this corruption do it quietly and with integrity and with dignity when they expose it. And sometimes they get penalized for it, but they're putting their life and liberty on the line to expose what they are finding corruption within the American government system, okay? But it needs to be done with integrity. It is not done by screaming. And again, this is on video on Turtle Boy's website of him on his bullhorn, and I don't know, it looks like at least 100 people on the courthouse steps yelling when John O'Keefe's family arrives. They're booing the family. They call them murderers. And I am going to swear, I'm just putting that out there because I'm not going to edit myself, because I'm going to say exactly what they said. Okay, so Turtle Boy calls Jen McCabe's daughters cunts. He calls John O'Keefe's mom a bitch. He calls Paul names. I can't remember what specific derogatory names that he calls him. He is inciting terrorism on these families. Karen Read is at the helm of all of this. The way that this has happened is that there was a connection made between Karen and Turtle Boy. I'm not going to get into all of the details on that, but they were connected by a third party. Karen Read and Turtle Boy. There is actual factual evidence of this in his court case. One of the several 19 charges or whatever that he has. That there are I can't remember exactly, 40 to 80 hour of talk time between Karen Read and Turtle Boy. And there are texts of her giving him instructions on what to do and calling people cunts and bitches and fuck them and fuck this and fuck that family, fuck the O'Keefes, fuck Paul. I don't want him on our side anymore. Fuck him. This is coming straight from Karen Read, okay? So she is giving him information that she wants put out in the media. And then Yannetti and Jackson get that information, which they're feeding Turtle Boy. But when they go into court, they say, this has been reported in the media, as if they're not a part of this. They are conspiring with Turtle Boy, directly feeding him information. Do you understand that? That is so important. They're giving him the information to put out into the public sphere that is completely false. It is disinformation. It is known to be false. And it is coming straight from Karen Read and her defense team, straight to Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy reports it. Karen Read and the defense team pretend like they don't know Turtle Boy. Yannetti slaps him on the ass, which, by the way, is also on camera. You can see that on Roberta Glass's channel. She actually plays that on one of her podcasts. And then they pretend like they don't know Turtle Boy. And when Judge Bev asks them, where they're getting this information, they're saying, this is information that's been reported in the media. This is what is happening. It is literally coming from them, and then they're going into court pretending like they have no idea who Turtle Boy is, and then citing him as the journalist that's putting it out into the sphere. That is what's going on, and that is terror, in my opinion. That is straight up corruption, RICO charges, witness intimidation. These lawyers should be disbarred, in my humble opinion, at the very least. And really, I think they should all be brought up on RICO charges because they have incited a mob. This community is on the brink of having riots and fires and potential fatalities because of what they are inciting within that community. Okay? Turtle Boy has charges right now that have all of this information. Now, it is in the public sphere. I don't know what he has taken down, but I am sure that I know a couple people that have all of his shit recorded so that it will be available for trial. Now, they also, and I don't know exactly how this worked, but somehow either the Read family and or the attorneys were able to get Josh Levy to buy into this whole idea that there's corruption of all of these freaking 3 or 4 police jurisdictions and the EMTs and the fire department. So I'm sorry, but Josh Levy looks corrupt to me because I don't know that you could actually believe that 70 people that have sometimes no relation to each other, sometimes have distant relationships with each other, are all covering up a murder and do not talk about it. Not one of the 64 or 68 witnesses talked about it. And then when the feds got involved, none of them went running over to the DA's office trying to make sure that their asses didn't go to prison because of all of this corruption. So clearly, I think you're intelligent enough to know that that did not happen. Yet the feds got involved, okay? They did this investigation. The worst thing that they found came out with Proctor's text messages, which again, and I've talked about this previously, so I'm not going to belabor the point, but he is a victim. This man has a clean record. Karen Read is like OJ because he was not convicted because of racist issues. She now wants to use misogyny as her scapegoat and police corruption. So she's tying them together. She's saying there's police corruption and there's misogyny, as if she doesn't use that same language and worse. Once again, it is recorded, it is factual, it is there for you to find. It's just not in the court yet. And I do not understand why this hasn't been able to be brought to the court in this case, because this is why these people are defensive and crying and their lives have been ruined. Colin Albert had a scholarship to college with his sports. He left. He didn't go to college because he was getting so much terror in his life. He did not want to expose his football team to what Turtle Boy was doing to his family. His dad could potentially lose his business. People have lost jobs. They've lost health insurance. There has been so many victims because Karen Read wants to not go to prison. Okay? None of these supporters are her friends. Her family knows she's guilty. I hope Adam Lally calls them to the stand because they can't plead the fifth as far as I understand. There's no protection there. They're not married. Okay, there's no parental excuse or you know what I mean. I can't think of the word, like a wife and husband immunity. Okay, they have to say what they know, and they know. Trust me, they know. I don't know. I think Adam Lally has a heart of gold, and that man wants to be as ethical and virtuous as he possibly can, and I have so much respect for that man. He put so much work into this. He is a single prosecutor that went up against 3 high-powered attorneys, plus this innocence fraud campaign behind the scenes, and he got a hung jury. He tied. Okay? Do you understand the impact of that? That is a win for Lally. Lally didn't have a clue how to deal with this. This was the same innocence fraud that was ran on the Making a Murderer on Netflix. Look into that. Roberta Glass also has information about that. Karen Read is the first one to do it in real time. I think Lally may have taken notes from, I think the prosecutor's name in that case was Ken, and he says, you should disprove before you get into your case. And I don't know that I agree after watching it in real time. It didn't work. It was too convoluted. Okay, this is a simple, and really it's not simple because the conversation in America, there is corruption in your area. I get it. You can parse that out. But Karen Read is corrupt. That side is corrupt. The Commonwealth that is involved in this particular trial is clean. They are clean. So go figure out what was happening in Sandra Birchmore's case if you want to get corruption rooted out. That is the case that you can go to and help her family. They need your support. That would be a place that would be an amazing opportunity for the public to, bring love and light to that family and bring justice to that family and root out all the corruption that is going on over there. Karen Read has a clean prosecution. She has everybody on the witnesses for the Commonwealth were like the best people. They're salt of the earth people. The narrative that is being spun about these people is a complete fallacy, and it's disgusting how mainstream media has picked up this BS and ran with it as if because they want to get people to watch. Okay? That's why they do this. It's all about political power, money, and what's the other thing? I'm totally brain farting. Political power, politics, power, and money. Okay, so that's it. It's politics, power, and money. That's what all of this is about. Okay, and if you're supporting Karen Read and or all of these YouTubers that are asking you to donate to her, they all know she's guilty. And here is another legislation that needs to be brought into this. Something needs to happen. These people are complicit in knowingly putting out disinformation that is harming and inciting what I believe looks a lot like terrorism of Americans against Americans. Karen Read has incited war on her own community because she doesn't want to go to jail. If she was innocent, do you think that she would be okay with people screaming and yelling and calling her boyfriend's family murderers? Would that be okay? If I divorced my husband or let's say, I was in Karen's position, right? And we were fighting and I was super mad at him and I was going to leave him and da-da-da-da-da. And if I got blamed for his murder, I don't care how mad I am at that man. I would be so freaking sad. Yes, I would be scared about the whole charge thing if I was factually innocent. Karen Read is not factually innocent, but this is my point. Normal people would, yes, be scared, but they would not encourage the public to, you guys see what you want to see when you're looking at the protesters. Most of the protesters that are on the streets, 99% of them are very they're not that. They're creating artwork. I mean, there's things that are weird, like the whole frickin' tailgating kind of thing at a murder trial, and that's kind of fucked up in my opinion, but they're not inciting hate, most of them. Now, I'm going to call out Rita because she is on camera. screaming as the jury is deliberating, which I believe the jury heard. And this is probably what the person that is scared wrote the letter about, because I don't know how they couldn't have heard it. She is screaming at the top of her lungs, and it is on camera that she is saying something to the effect of, if these jurors don't find her innocent, we are gonna have a problem. I mean, she is not calm, okay? And she is inciting fear out there. She is not the only one, but that is a fact. I have seen it with my own eyes on the television. So it is not allegedly, it is a fact. The behind the scenes stuff is the stuff that nobody in the news wants to pay attention to. It's like this is a political thing that the curtains are being pulled over our eyes. And I feel like I'm literally in a different reality watching the media. I sent emails to some of these media people asking them what in the hell they thought they were doing, blaming the victim's family. Some freaking lady on one of these news shows sat on the TV. She probably doesn't know anything about this trial except the bare bone, like, this is what this side thinks and this is what this side thinks. And then Paul O'Keefe did his first interview. That family has more class than anybody in the defense in their middle finger. Like, the grace that they have shown. He does his first interview and people are attacking him in the media, critiquing his interview, where he is just finally telling his side of the story, because he cannot believe that so many people are believing such a fucked up story. It is so ridiculous that he's like, what in the actual hell? We obviously need to share what we know, okay? So this lady on the news says, well, I think that sometimes the family gets really close with the district attorney and they just drink the Kool-Aid. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about cult mentality. That is exactly what's going on. Are you familiar with the Manson family? Okay, Manson didn't ever kill anybody, did he? Nope, but he incited all of the chaos that was going on at that time. And that man went to prison for the rest of his life. Do you understand the seriousness of this? Nobody has been murdered yet. Nobody has been physically harmed yet. But do you understand what stalking is? Stalking, the term comes from hunting, stalking your prey. You are watching for a deer so that you can shoot it. This is what is happening. People don't understand the serious nature of what stalking is. And that is what witness intimidation ultimately is. Stalking plus blatant disinformation and blaming them for a murder in public, and just having rolling rallies outside their house, walking up to their door. I mean, they are harassed and harassed and harassed. A person can only take so much, okay? That is why this needs to be in this trial, in the next trial. This needs to be a part of it. I don't know, but I would imagine that Karen Read is going to get charges also that are equivalent to what Turtle Boy has, and I quite frankly think her attorneys should also be indicted on all of those charges. And they should all go to prison, because this is beyond illegal. It is like mob, RICO charges, cult mentality. That is what they're doing, folks. So do you think that now when Jen McCabe is standing up for herself, do you look at her a little differently? Do you think, man, she's a strong woman. She has been put through hell, and she is not going to let this slimy defense attorney mess with her words and misconstrue things for his benefit to help him get a woman off for a murder of her friend that she and her whole family have been blamed for the past year, and countless ways they have been victimized. Like I've said, financially, health benefits, their schooling, their education, their jobs, all of these families. And like I said, the community as a whole as well. This needs to be brought in. It is part of why Allie McCabe cries on the stand, and the people on the Free Karen Read side say that she's faking it. They are saying that John O'Keefe's family is drinking the Kool-Aid from the most honest prosecutor that probably walks the earth and has the most integrity and ethics and morals. But they're drinking the Kool-Aid as if they aren't going to investigate and know exactly what happened to their son, their loved one, their brother, their father. Those children have now lost 3 parental figures. John O'Keefe's family, they had 3 children and they lost 2. They have lost 2 of their 3 children as parents. And now as senior citizens, they are raising teenagers. I mean, it is like, oh my God. And Karen Read is in the court laughing and smiling and acting like people are putting her up on this pedestal as if she's a hero and a role model. And John O'Keefe's family has been watching this happen. Meanwhile, they're being called murderers. They're being part of the conspiracy. They're being put on blast. And their whole life, I mean, I'm sure they are scared to go anywhere. It's like, I can't even imagine. I literally cannot even imagine, nor can I put it into words, okay? So this needs to be exposed. There are people working on exposing this. I know that there are people working on exposing this. The state's attorney, Levy, needs to answer to the O'Keefe family. Paul, you need to go camp at that man's office, and you need to sit there until that man gives you answers. And then he needs to come out and tell the public the answer as well, because that is a huge part of him making amends to your family. You get the answers that you need first, of course. But in this case, it has affected this trial to such extremes that people think that because the feds are involved, there must be corruption. The feds are done. They didn't find anything except text messages on Proctor's personal phone, of which he had a clean record and a good cop, and now he lost his job, has small children, lost health benefits, and Turtle Boy is campaigning terror on him still. And it's broadcasted. It is mob mentality. It is cult mentality. It is the Manson family mentality. This is what's happening. Karen Read and her attorneys giving Turtle Boy information. Turtle Boy being a complete, I mean, I don't even know, like a cult leader. He's like a cult leader, and he's brainwashing people. And if people don't know how to look and research and do their research and really find out the truth, it is somewhat believable, because when they started this story, it was ridiculous. But as he tried to put this out into the American people, they kept tweaking it. They kept tweaking things to make it seem more believable. They found out what people would believe and wouldn't believe, so then they would tweak it. So they had all this time, over a year, to get their story tweaked perfectly so that they could, make up this huge story that is absolute bullshit, that he is brainwashing people like Charles Manson and inciting terrorism in this community. Okay? That is the truth. And Levy is at the helm. He needs to fix this. The feds are done unless they're investigating Karen Read Turtle Boy and her attorneys and her family, because I sure think they should be, and Josh Levy, and I don't know about Rachel Rollins too. Seems like, I don't know, that might be another person involved. In my opinion, allegedly, we need to figure this out as the American people, because this is corruption. This is corruption. This is mob mentality. This is brainwashing the American people to incite terrorism on our own people. That is the corruption. And all of this because the woman wants to save her own ass, because she probably has some mental ailment that does not allow her to have compassion and does not allow her to have impulse control, like psychotic behavior and borderline personality disorder would be two of my guesses, because the woman doesn't even react when they're talking about John's bloody clothes. I bawled my eyes out watching this trial. I do not know any of these people personally. She had no emotional response to anything other than, oh, look, the Sally Port video is backwards. She knew that video was backwards. Look at how quickly she responds to that. She knew it was put into evidence that way, and that was an accident. That's how it was recorded. You people need to do your research. She immediately reacted to that as if, ooh, see, more corruption, it's backwards. She would not have been able to realize it that soon. Her brain would not have been able to process it if she didn't know to look for it. She knew that it was put into evidence that way, and she pounced on it. It's disgusting. She has victimized this entire community, literally to other countries have been affected, lost jobs, have relationship issues over this trial. Some people have marital issues over this trial. Some people have lost their business. They have donated $20,000 to this freaking murderess. That is what's going on.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we live in a society where people will get violent for the most ridiculous reasons. Okay.
But no one has here, like from either side. No, like even when the protesters and the other side were together, there's a lot of name calling. There's some arguing. There's voicing of opinions. There's protests. There's protests and there's vocal protests. And there's people commenting. And where is the line between personal safety and First Amendment?
Well, there are, as been mentioned, bloggers and people across the board that are singling out jurors and looking at the situation.
They are calling them out. Turtle Boy should never have been allowed in that courtroom. This is where something needs to be adjusted. No, he is not convicted yet, but there is factual evidence on the media that anybody can access of his crimes. Okay, so it's there. So how do we fix that, Vinny? How does that fit into the legal world where no, he has not been convicted, but anybody can go look at the freaking evidence for themselves and see it? They know. They're watching this. They're seeing him put on this campaign of terror and saying, oh, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but, I shamed the shit out of this other juror that acquitted some dude, and I should have, and I'm going to find out who this juror is. I mean, he is literally saying this on his program. The other thing I want to mention here real quick, and I am talking, see, I told you I would talk to, this is my tangent, that this case is about domestic violence. The conversation should be about males they are the victims of domestic violence too, and they don't recognize it. They don't know what's going on. They know something is wrong, but they don't recognize it because their brains don't think that they can be the victim of abuse. Karen Read was abusing John O'Keefe and those children. She was manipulating them and using them for her own narcissistic reasons, in my very strong opinion. Okay, and again, I can cite reasons. You all think she's so nice because she buys stuff? Okay, she's using that to manipulate them. John O'Keefe did not want that. He wanted them to have good values. He wanted them to know that feeling of intrinsic value and working hard to get and earn what you get and knowing those values. A real, true, salt of the earth kind of values. I'm a farm girl, so I totally get it. Like, we work for 20 hours a day, 22 hours a day, sometimes 3 days straight. Like, we just go, 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 go. We work. And that seems to me how John O'Keefe's mentality is. He works hard and probably played hard too, it sounds like. Okay? But he wanted those children to have good values. She was using money and material things to manipulate them. Okay? He didn't want that shit. He told her to leave. She didn't leave. He didn't want her there. And she wasn't invited out that night. She showed up. Okay? That was not... He was out with some of his guy buddies to freaking decompress, and she couldn't even give him that because of her narcissistic 56 fucking phone calls that he didn't. I mean, the evidence is there, guys. You just have to look. You have to you have to deprogram yourself. I'm literally being serious. Like, this is deprogramming from the mental state that this campaign of terror has brought you to believe. None of that is true. It is a false reality. And so the people that know the truth, we are sitting here watching this shit unfold, being like, how are they doing this right in front of our eyes like we don't know the truth? And then we watch people on the news saying the same shit that the defense is saying. This is the news. This is not a soap opera. Alan Jackson should be a soap opera star. That's what he is, okay? This is somebody's life and liberty and victims, and they are turning it into a soap opera, mob mentality, terrorism. Okay, the other thing I wanted to say about this domestic violence, again, this should be a purple campaign, not a fucking pink campaign. Karen Read is not the victim of misogyny, okay? She tried to spin that, and there is proof. There are texts directly from Karen to Turtle Boy that say, because Bev wouldn't let them wear free Karen Read shit, then she said, let's do pink, because she knew Proctor was coming up, and she was creating this whole masquerade fucking movie drama. It's psychopathic, insane, terroristic behavior. Okay, so the point about domestic violence, we need to have a conversation in America. That Clenny girl killed her boyfriend. He was the victim of domestic violence. She's trying to say that she was the victim of domestic violence and human trafficking. In his death, she's doing the same bullshit Karen Read is. She killed him, and she's gaslighting the world. Again, the evidence is there. You have to just look. It's very obvious, okay? So please don't get brainwashed on that case. It happens, and more men are being victimized because women aren't being put in prison. People don't want to put women in prison. They can't believe that women are psychopaths and could, abuse and terrorize and murder people. But this is reality. Women are humans too, and women can have mental illnesses, and women can be psychotic, and women can be serial killers, and women can be black widows, and women can be all sorts of things that men can be. All of the negative, we're all human. We all have good and bad in us. There is no difference as far as good and bad between sexes. We all can experience the same things, okay? So that should be the conversation. America needs to have those conversations. Furthermore, your point about it hasn't happened yet, Al. Thank you. Because, Vinny, there is so much, again, the stalking. People are starting to wake up to how serious stalking is. They get a stalking charge. Protective orders do not save lives. It's a piece of paper. If you are in a volatile relationship or situation with somebody, a protective order is not going to help you. The only thing it's going to help you with is if they don't come and kill you. If they want to kill you, they're going to come and kill you. However, if they, are caught stalking you, then you have the ability to likely put them in jail. Now, that whole bullshit with Turtle Boy and when Julie Albert pulled up and how he was gaslighting. He was totally this is the whole thing. It's all gaslighting. Look the other way. They want us to look the other way. The prosecution doesn't want us to look the other way. They want us to look at the facts. So the whole thing is gaslighting. Okay? It is Turtle Boy saying he's a victim. He has protective orders. He is not supposed to be within hundreds of feet of any of these witnesses. And so he goes to downtown Canton where he knows that these people frequent and work. And then he's the victim because these people are at their fucking breaking point after a year and a half of terrorism, being called murderers in court, losing jobs, losing health insurance, all of the things. And now he's the victim and he televises it. It is gaslighting at its finest. So when things don't happen yet, that's the problem with the law. Something needs to change. Well, a lot of things need to change. This is where there's going to be lots of legislation that needs to change. We have to look at this shit as mob mentality. This is like RICO charge kind of stuff when people want to put on an innocence fraud campaign, and they need to be held accountable, Alan Jackson. I'm using your own words against you. Actions have consequences, sir. Okay? Now, when women are in abusive relationships and they get protective orders and they leave, that is as you well know, I'm sure, Vinny, the most dangerous time. Because if they are with somebody who has that mentality, that is the time that they will likely lose their life. It is a very, very scary thing. And it's like you need to literally escape and change your identity and go into witness protection kind of thing on your own with no help from the government. Because if this person finds you, they will kill you. Because that is the mentality, okay? So how do we protect shit? Like, well, he's been stalking her. He's been, going to her work. Same thing with Turtle Boy. He's stalking these people. He is terrorizing them. They have protection orders. In my opinion, he should have went back to jail that night. I don't understand why I understand how Turtle Boy spun it and made it look like it was Julie Albert's fault, but he knows full well that Chris Albert works there, and that is the area that all of those people frequent. He knows that. He had no reason to go there. His only reason was exactly what happened. He wanted to incite exactly what happened. And his ass should have been put back in jail because he violated his protection orders. He did that. He made the choice to go that. He had all of the knowledge. He knows full well where the Chris Albert works. He knows full well where they hang out. And that's where he chose to go. Doesn't take rocket science to figure that out. I don't know why he wasn't jailed. He should have been put in jail. Now, Vinny, how do we protect people? Because when you say there hasn't been physical violence, okay, but there has been every other type of violence, and we all know that criminal minds progress. So, serial killers often start with, let's say, rapes, and they might, start doing some, abusive type of things while they're there, and then they ultimately graduate to murder. Okay, they have done everything but physical violence. It's coming. Al, you're right. So, Vinny, how do we protect people? Because we know it's on the brink. It's teetering right at the top. That dam is going to break. And these people need to be protected. Again, there is proof for everybody to see. Has he been convicted? No, but there's proof of it. So, how do we reconcile these things and protect the American people from the actual criminals, from the actual corruption? People get killed and very hurt in so many ways by stalking, by terrorizing. This is insane. I'm talking too much. Let these boys talk.
Not happy with the result, not happy with this, not happy with that. All it takes is one spark to start a forest fire. So you've got you've got a situation here where the passions have been high throughout.
Right.
And it is, I don't think it's out of the ordinary to keep this person's name out. And they're not saying forever, but at this time. Okay, just like let cooler heads prevail. Let's see what happens with regards to they're called back in on the 22nd. Is that correct? I think they just got a conference or something.
Yeah.
So like let's see what things are going, and then go from there. Once the new jury is impaneled, I mean, then release the names.
Well, Vinny, when you say nothing has happened, that may be true. But the only way for this juror to find out if something's going to happen is to have the name go out there, and then it's too late to put the genie back in the bottle.
That's just like.
Okay, we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. We can't put the genie back in the bottle. This is exactly what I'm saying. So what do? We know it's at its breaking point. How do we, as the American people, protect them? We know it's coming. They've done everything except the next thing. We know how that works. They start and they build, and then and again, it's like a Manson type mentality. They have been brainwashed. And Karen Read and Turtle Boy are at the helm of this crap. And her attorneys and her family. Okay? They're all involved. And Josh Levy. They're all involved in this. And they all need to be held accountable. So how do we protect our American citizens from this? We know it's coming. It's the next thing. Does somebody have to die? Do riots have to break out in the street? Does Canton have to be set ablaze for something to be done? Why do women and men have to be murdered by people that they were supposed to be loved by for anybody to give a shit? Why does it have to get to that point? We need to figure out how we protect. We know how criminal minds work. We know how psychology works. We know that this is the progression of crimes. We know that when they get to that point, they are teetering. Are we going to just say, let them go? Like, there is a young lady, I believe it was in Tennessee, I want to say. Let me see here real quick. I know there was Texas. Okay, so this woman, and this was actual physical abuse. Her boyfriend was jailed, and he beat the living shit out of her and went to jail for it. And then he asked for a lower bond, and the judge let him have a lower bond. This is a whole big thing. You can research it. I'm trying to Southeast Austin. It was in he was supposed to be put on a monitor. The whole court system failed. He wasn't supposed to leave the state. He obviously wasn't supposed to be anywhere near her. Oh, what is her name? It's last name Davis, I think. Is it Naomi? That might be another victim. Shit. But I'm not, so the system failed on all of those accounts. He was supposed to be monitored, and all of the fail-safes failed. He went to her and killed her. He got out of jail and went straight to her and killed her. The system failed on every level. Now what? The family has to go through civil action and sit and not have their daughter for the rest of their lives? I mean, this was so preventable. All of this is preventable. But we all, as American people, need to figure this out. New legislation needs to come down about journalism in the YouTube streets, in the, whole independent journalism stuff. There needs to be laws on this. People need to be held accountable for spreading disinformation that lead to campaigns of terror, that lead to cult mentality, that lead to mob mentality, that can cause major damage to many lives. So, Vinny, help me figure out what we need to do, because a lot needs to change. Our world is evolving and the law needs to catch up. We need to protect the innocent Americans, and we need to jail the corrupt, and the mentally ill need to be segregated away, and also the criminals need to be put in prison. And they need to have spent their entire prison sentence and not get out in, half the time. And then their victims don't get contacted that they're getting out, and then they get out and they go kill them. I mean, this is like, we've got to figure this out.
If we hold her under the water, okay, when she dies, okay, she's not a witch and she's innocent. If she lives, she's a witch, and then we kill her. Okay, so
right.
You can't take the you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube once that's happened.
Right, but the slippery slope. Michelle L is with me. I'm not a fan of a slippery slope, Vinny. Here's what I'm saying.
I mean, you're not a fan of it. Everyone's not a fan of a slippery slope. But when I mentioned that with regards to the fact that if we don't follow the rules with regards to criminal procedure or civil procedure in these trials, and we make exceptions, okay, that it opens up a floodgates and a slippery slope. No one seemed to have that problem then.
But wait. Let me ask you this. You right there, Jonesy?
Yeah, one of those lingering summer coughs.
Okay.
I was ready with the Heimlich if you needed it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it this way, that the judge, because there has to be a risk, right? There has to be a risk, and the risk has to be based upon something.
The risk, you need to go look at Turtle Boy's podcasts. You need to go look at all of the creators that are inciting this. Attorney Melanie Little, The Young Jerks, LTL Media, Sean McDonough with his Going Through the Motions. Duty Ron is also a freaking police officer spreading all of this shit. This was a hit and run. That's why, and it was the worst Northeastern that they've had. So are you telling me, Duty Ron, that you have never made mistakes? I mean, you have criticized this case in such a way that is so disgraceful. I don't know that you know, but based on the guests that you have on your show, Melanie Little, Mark Betterow, these types of people, they know. So it makes me feel like you must know. You're a cop. You're telling me you can't figure out that this is not possible? It's disgusting. They all need to be held accountable. Okay, and I found this, it was in Tennessee, in Nashville. Just to quick let you know, Lauren Johansson is the young lady. She was 22 years old. Her 23-year-old boyfriend, Bryson Rivers, got out of jail when they lessened his bond. They didn't get the ankle bracelet on him. They didn't call in time. All of that just failed. They had a system in place that, on paper was supposed to work, but the people are human and they made a lot of mistakes that led to this woman losing her life. This young, beautiful, beautiful soul. Okay, so here we go.
Can a risk be based upon conduct that has not harmed anyone, right? So the basis of...
But it has harmed people. Again, I'm not going to go into it again. Again, it's building. So we're at the breaking point right now. Does it need to come to physical harm? Because that's the next step, Vinny, and you know it because you know how criminals work. As a prosecutor, you know this.
The risk perceived by this juror and perceived and agreed to by the judge is that people have been protesting. People aren't happy. People believe Karen Read is innocent. People believe Karen Read is guilty. People believe the jury got it wrong. People don't agree with the jury. People have been holding signs. People have been chanting. People have been protesting at people's homes. Is that enough, without one person being physically harmed, is that enough to be a basis for the fear of personal safety for this juror?
It's a basis.
Again, I'm not going to repeat myself. It's at the breaking point, Vinny. It's at the breaking point. You need to look deeper. You can't just look at what happened in trial. So much is happening in the background. So the very sweet protesters that you see that are just holding signs, that's what you see. That's the whole point. This terrorism campaign is all happening behind the scenes, and Hitler Karen Read is at the helm of it, calling all of the shots. Everything that she is telling Turtle Boy to do, and then Turtle Boy contacts all his little minions like the Glare and Mike Congdon Mikey at the Young Jerks, Melanie Little, LTL Media, going through the motions. They're calling. They have all the same talking points. They all are communicating. So all of you that say, oh yeah, I'm not a Turtle Boy person, so therefore, I'm not influenced by Turtle Boy. Here's the thing. Yes, you are. You've chosen somebody that represents themselves. Turtle Boy puts himself out there as a disgusting slime ball, and he has a ton of followers still, which makes me scared for society, okay? But then there are people like Melanie Little and the Young Jerks and the Baker, whatever the fuck he's called. He's just repulsive, and it's an echo chamber, and they're all getting their talking points from Karen Read, who gives Karen Read, her attorneys, her family, next to Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy sends them out to all of these people in the independent journalism world, and they all have the same talking points. So they all know what they're supposed to be saying and the points they're supposed to hit. You have to look at what's going on in this case. This case is unique. And we have to call it out so it can't happen again. America needs to see this. This is the first one that I know of in real time that has literally happened right in front of our eyes to make us that are sane individuals feel like we are freaking crazy and living in an alternate universe because we're watching this happen and we're like, how is this on the news? And they're reporting that his family is drinking the Kool-Aid when they actually have the terrorist at the top calling the shots. It's mind-boggling. We need to recognize it for what it is. These people need to be held accountable. Legislation needs to be made, and we have to call it out, because if we don't, this is going to continue to happen, and people are going to walk on murder charges, rape charges, whatever they're in for, and we're going to have all of these criminals teaching our children, being our neighbors, working as our colleagues, dating our children or grandchildren or nephews or nieces or whatever. They're out in the world. Do we want that? No. She is dangerous. She is a dangerous woman. Think about what I have told you, and then think about how in the hell somebody could do this. Terrorize all these people. It's one thing to go to trial and claim you're innocent and try to put on a case and, poke holes in the investigation and not incite all of this anger and hatred and vitriol against the victims' families, all of the state's witnesses. She has victimized, like I've said many times now, thousands, if not millions of people around the world have been victimized in some way by this woman because she killed her boyfriend in a drunken domestic violence rage, and she started building her alibi immediately. And yeah, most people don't call and say I hate you to build their alibi, but when you don't have the mentality to understand that is not a good thing to do, like smiling and laughing with your attorneys when they're holding up your passed away boyfriend's bloody clothes that you caused, and you're sitting there giggling with your attorney who you may be sleeping with on top of all of this. It's disgusting. And John O'Keefe's family is sitting right there, and Paul is getting all this hate because he finally had enough, and this man has so much integrity and grace. I think I would be in jail if that was me in that courtroom, and all he did was give her dirty looks, and she was grinning and smirking at him. the whole entire time. How can a sane person do that? Do you want somebody who can do all of these things that she has done in our society as a free woman? Do you feel safe that your children, grandchildren, nephews, whatever, date this woman, work with this woman, are educated by this woman? It's scary.
For delay. I mean, she's not asking, or she is not asking.
But the delay has to be as a result of a risk of safety. That's the law.
And,
That's the law in Massachusetts.
If the court wants to investigate that, they certainly can. Okay, the affidavit has been sent up and it said, this is what I feel. This is the genuine experience that I'm concerned about with regards to my family and myself. And, you know, I mean, there is a chance that the anger can be manifested physically. It's not beyond the
but we're in a case here where this thing's been going for 2 years.
Okay,
but high temperature, and there hasn't been one physical altercation. There hasn't been one person who's been, like, I understand the charges of intimidation are still pending, and I understand people feel like their lives have been turned upside down because of what's been said. There may be civil lawsuits.
They don't feel like they have. They have been turned upside down. Listen to everything I said again. Let it sink in. The next step is physical.
Relative to that, I don't know.
Okay.
I understand that part of it, but here we're talking about the risk for.
And there is proof, but you have to look for it. You can't just say, I'm only going to look at what came out in trial and what the judge let in. This case needs to be studied, but not for the reasons that people think. It needs to be studied, and legislation needs to be built to safeguard our citizens from this happening ever again.
Personal safety.
Okay,
That's
but
the only issue I'm talking right now.
Okay,
Is there an actual risk to personal safety?
Here's a situation that I think gives you the impetus for enacting this at this time. This case is not over at this stage of the game. The judge could conceivably say, on July 22nd, I want to bring all those jurors back, and I want to talk to them, each one individually, with regards to what happened in the jury room and how there was some sort of a mistake and miscommunication or whatever the situation was. Okay? That means that these people, if this name goes out tomorrow, is fair game for showing up at their front door, calling their house if they're listed, getting on email, trying to find email accounts, going on Facebook, and everything along those lines. Okay, so while these jurors are still in play, and they are technically still in play, I don't agree with it. I don't think that should be done. I don't think the judge should do this because it doesn't comport with the rules. But if the judge decides to do this, these people are in play, and then they could be intimidated. They could be called and say, you know, listen, my uncle Nunzio told me to tell you that if you don't vote,
Why is it always Nunzio? It's never the Russian mob. You know, it's never the Irish mob. It's always Nunzio.
I was using my uncle Nunzio. The reason why I use my uncle Nunzio because but his name is on my mother's side from outside of Corleone, Sicily. So you know, I use him. I don't have a Russian uncle. I apologize on that. I don't have an Albanian uncle.
Okay, so yes, you're hitting it. It is mob mentality, which I have touched on. There should be RICO charges brought down. You need to look at what's going on in the background of this case. It needs to be studied. It has to be. Okay, I think I've made all my talking points. I have a couple more parts of this that I want to show and share with you. So let me get to that.
And if that's the kind of mentality that's being set forward, then these people have a genuine risk of a potential for being hurt.
Okay, I think that's Rita. This is the woman I was talking about that you can actually see. I think it might even be on the news, but it's definitely on YouTube where she's standing there. I think Matt Johnson was interviewing her. I can't remember. There's so many reporters. But she's screaming that if these jurors don't find her innocent, they are gonna have a problem. And you know that these jurors were followed, okay? And press was there. If that's not intimidating, I don't know what is. We have got to protect our jurors if we want to protect the integrity of our justice system. This needs to be studied. Laws need to come down. It has to happen, or this is going to continue to corrode our American justice system. I implore you all to help me figure this out. I am not an attorney. I can't really do much. I know there are people working in the background, but I'm bringing it to your attention.
Or potential for being bullied, or potential for being harassed. This trial has taken on a life of its own.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, I'm not. And the thing is that we want, Vinny, as you and I, as attorneys, and me as a trial attorney, I want jurors that are going to be willing to come in and be willing to serve. All right, that's the foundation of our system. But if they walk away and say, you know what, up yours, you're not protecting me, you're putting my name out there, and you got these people coming to my door, guess what? Okay, I'm not serving.
I'm just looking at the photo, and I was up there, and I saw all these folks in person. They look like the folks I play pickleball with.
That in and of itself is frightening. So they're like,
the pickleball crowd can be tough.
The pickleball crowd is really tough. Here, this could be one of the wildest comments. This is a really interesting comment. I'm going to put it up here. This is from Anna M.
Wait, does it have something to do with your blue eyes?
No. This involves that case, that woman down in Central Florida, last name Anthony. She had a daughter named Kaylee. I didn't blame a bunch of innocent people, just her dad. I actually have more empathy for her than KR. More empathy for, I'll say it, Casey Anthony than Karen Read. Whoa.
This woman, let me see, what's your name? Anna M. Her and I are on the same page. Anna M., I hope you hear me and we connect, because we all need to band together and we can help bring this legislation in, okay? I am 100% with you. This woman has caused, you've heard me say it, okay? This is exactly true. Go to my very first post on this case. I've literally only came onto YouTube and posted about this case because I feel like this family needs love and light and support. These families, these victims, these state witnesses, the family and friends of John O'Keefe, Officer John O'Keefe. And for all of you that are talking about they don't even refer to him like an officer because you think that they're disrespecting him posthumously because they're not referring to him as Officer John O'Keefe. That, if you paid attention, which Melanie Little, I know you read through all the documents and went through all of this pretrial stuff, so you saw that happen in court when they made the boundaries. They couldn't be within so many feet of the courthouse. They couldn't wear Karen Read things. They could not have officers come into court in uniforms. They couldn't refer to Officer John O'Keefe, okay? That was, I don't know if Judge Bev actually said they can't say officer or if it was implied because of all of these rules that we can't bring in. That what was being pushed was police corruption and misogyny, and so I'm going to ban this and this so neither side gets to be able to bolster or have, or look more of a victim or look more of a hero or whatever. She put a stop to all of that. Okay, so they are not disrespecting Officer John O'Keefe. That was just part of Karen's terrorism campaign that did that to him on top of everything else that we've discussed.
Oh. Whoa. That is, wow. Anna M. just putting it out there. I mean, that woman was literally voted the most hated woman in America. Literally. Like the most hated in.
Understandably so in a lot of respects.
Crazy.
But that is a very, very bold comment, and kudos.
Yes.
For being that honest and that bold. I appreciate that.
All right,
I do too.
Now you guys got to carry.
Okay. See, Al, you're my spirit animal. That's how I speak. I am real. I don't give it to you I'm assertive in the way I speak. I swear, so that might turn you off, but I love my swear words. So if you could please look past that. I have the mouth of a sailor and the heart of Mother Teresa. Okay, if I'm on somebody else's show that doesn't want me to swear, or if I'm around children, I can read the room. But on my own podcast, when I am speaking and I am getting passionate on my platform, I'm going to speak with my swear words that I like, okay? So please listen to the message. If that's offensive to you, I apologize. I don't mean it to be offensive. I love my fuck words. I love it. It's a versatile word. It can be a noun, pronoun, an adjective, an adverb. I mean, I can use it in all of these ways, and it's fun for me. Okay, so I'm on the same page with Al and Anna M. Shout out to you. There's one more segment here, I think. Let me see. Oh, let's see. Okay, I think that's it. See, I'm like way over my time again. A little bit more than double what I wanted, but you know me. I'm a tangent. I'm your girl, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. I am really trying to get enough people so that I can do a live. I think I have like 32 or something subscribers, and I guess I need 50 to be able to do a live. And I just really, what I want to do is have open conversations and let people have their voice and not have an echo chamber. That is what needs to happen. Because if you notice, the people that believe that she's guilty will have people invite people on their platforms to discuss with them. They won't show. And the people that have platforms that are pushing this false narrative, that are dictating what's going on, refuse to have people on the show that are self-aware and like they're scared that the actual factual truth is going to come out, and their audience is going to start to figure this out, that they've been brainwashed, and they're going to start deprogramming themselves, and they're going to be really pissed. And then all of those creators are going to lose their jobs because they are making bank from you. You should never, ever, if you're going to pay a creator, you need to vet them thoroughly. And I mean thoroughly, because these people are bankrupting some of you and asking for money. They are banking. You are paying their mortgage because they're protecting a murderer and have brainwashed you. Those are the facts. Please, please spread awareness. Please start to open your mind to the possibility that she could be guilty. Please go listen to my very first podcast so that you know where my brain started, because I literally went into this thinking she was innocent, okay? I am a researcher. I have 3 degrees. I love education. I love to learn. I love to research. I'm like a hippie with a type A personality. It's really a strange dichotomy. Math and English, my favorite sports. I am a creative and an athlete. Like, I have left, right brain almost exactly the same, but a little bit more right. It's a weird dichotomy that I have. But I thought my friend that said that to me one time, he said, "You're a hippie with a type A personality." When I need to have a type A personality, I'm an excellent leader, but I can follow just as well too. But I am not a follower. If you're feeding me bullshit, I'm gonna suss it out. So trust but research, right? That's kind of the motto these days, and I don't think people have done enough research. There's a difference between factually innocent and found innocent in a court of law. Lally proved that the 227 Hoslang to die in cold is false. He proved that. He had the person on the stand that wrote the program that explained why that appeared that way. And everybody that thinks that she's innocent don't believe it. He wrote the fucking program, guys. He wrote the program. And the lady that they had on that day is like the next best thing. Look at her resume. I mean, she has worked for military, I think like Secret Service, CIA. Like, she has a resume. So they literally brought in the man that wrote the program to explain it. And the FKR movement has people so brainwashed that they literally ignored that. Then when they put up green and they say, Lally's saying, did they contact you? Did they reach out to you? Did you have and he's, Green's dancing around it. And his very last sentence, Lally says, you know that you were wrong, or something to that effect. And he finally acquiesced and said, yes, go back and watch it. All of this has been proven in the court of law. All of the facts were there. The problem with the case is that he, I think, got bad advice from somebody that's probably dealt with this shit before, because the stuff usually happens after the person is jailed, and then they do this whole campaign to try to get them out of jail. So it's all usually after the conviction. This is new to happen in real time. He, I think, in my personal opinion, probably did research and got bad advice based on how other people have done it in the past. I'm hoping that he streamlines his next case and has lots of visual aids throughout the entire thing, because these jurors are allowed to take notes, and then that's it. Like they have to listen to all of this crap. Your case, Lally, is so simple. It is a point A to Z, very straight line. Everything leads you there, which is why they want to claim corruption, because it was really a simple investigation. Everything they found led to Karen. So they actually did a very good job in their circumstances, and they were very creative and ingenious in how they collected that. They got the blood to make sure that there wasn't blood mixed in with his own blood. This is why that was a very ingenious thing to do. Clean cups, packaged cups. I mean, the whole thing is just like, you want to make a big to-do about nothing. These cops did the best they could with what they had. The one thing I would criticize about this investigation is that they did not have somebody sit at the scene and I'm losing my brain thoughts now. I've been, everything's coming together. But secure the scene. That's the only thing that I would say that they sorry, I'm so passionate right now, I'm stuttering. That is the only thing that I would criticize or give constructive criticism to know for the next one. Even if it is a simple case from A to Z, you still need to make sure that everything is, secured and all of that the best you can with what you have. Secure the scene. The Alberts were willing to talk to you, so maybe you just say, hey, could I look around? I mean, yeah, you don't have probable cause, but and you're pretty clear on what happened, because this crazy lady is saying, I hit him. Did I hit him? Is he dead? How long does it take? This is what people are hearing. So they had no reason to think that this happened inside the house. But a lesson, you got to chase every lead, even if it is a very simple case, because they can make it, that defense team can make it into something that it's not. So it's just we like to call it a CYA, cover your ass policies. So I think that there has been a lot of lessons, and I think Proctor should be reinstated and or be able to go somewhere and have this kind of off his record and not be able to be brought up, because the whole thing is corruption with the state's attorney's office. That is the only thing that the FBI found. That is Alan Jackson's MO. He did it in Kevin Spacey's case. That's how he got the charges dismissed. Got the victim's phone, found something on it that was so embarrassing that they didn't want it released so that they would drop the charges. That's exactly what he was trying to do here. He was manipulating this FBI investigation, saying that they weren't going to go forward, and then the defense, go watch the pretrial motions. The defense asked for that to be sealed. Yannetti said they don't need the dog DNA. They know it's not a dog. They acquiesced to that in pretrial, yet they bring that shit up in trial. So if you want to talk about truth, real truth, factual innocence, then you need to find it. If you want to talk about was the case proven, well, clearly he did a good enough job to not let her get away with this shit. And I think Lally is an intelligent man, and I hope he has at least a second chair, if not a third chair, to help him in the next one. He knows this case like the back of the hand. It's a simple case. He's got to use visual aids, or chalks as they call them there, and make sure that he does a clean case. If the defense wants to have all these conspiracy theories, you go from A, B, C, done, you're done. You're quick. Your case is simple. Make sure the jury knows that. Let them come in and try to attack all of these innocent witnesses, and let the jury decide if they like that. It was disgusting, in my opinion. Some people looked at him like he was this superstar. And I agree, he should be on a soap opera. But that shit has no place in the courtroom. He's attacking almost every single witness that went up on the stand. Attacks them. It's disgusting. He knows the truth. So I'm going to stop this here. This is, once again, way longer than it's supposed to be. I really hope that y'all are finding me and listening to me and sharing, and put me on double speed so that you can get through it faster. I need to be part of the tangent. I'm reaching out to you, Al, my spirit animal. I think that you should campaign for me to be able to at least be a guest on your show and see how we go, because I think it would be pretty amazing, and I think it would be really, really fun. As you can see, I like to have a tangent. I can have a triple conversation with myself, so I think I would have a lot to add, and I have a lot to learn from all three of you, and it would be an amazing experience and super fun. I'd love to go have coffee with you, but I live across the country, so I don't think that's going to happen. So this would be the next best thing. We can use this. Let me on. Let me play with you guys. Let me come out and play. Okay. I love you all. Spread love and light. Please like, share, subscribe. Let's get me some subscribers. I'm the tiniest channel on YouTube that nobody knows about. I have the mouth of a sailor, but the heart of Mother Teresa. I am loyal to the ends of the earth. I will fight for what is right. I will burn my own health and safety down for the rights and love of others. I gotcha. I'm there for you, America. But we got to be there for each other, and we all got to get on the same page. I love you all. Love and light. Mwah. Till next time.